team of 2 students will take a lead role, and they'll write the literature review and then give a presentation on that. And they will also find a good topic article, typically a review article about that topic for everybody to read before class. So those are the 3 things they do for presentation days. So I'll show you our syllabus. We have presentation days and we have collaboration days. Presentation days is when we actually do the presentations and participate. And in collaboration days, we break into groups and work on things together, including your literature review. I can pop in groups and help you with your outlines and your literature review and things like that. So we'll use this time to get those things done. Okay, so a team of 2 students will take a lead role on a presentation day. And then after each presentation, the 2 other students will have worked on one of their topics and they'll lead a short discussion. So they'll engage the class and actively get into a more interesting aspect of the topic. Here's an off-the-wall comment. Infant formula, we have a presentation on infant formula. Well, some people make infant formula at home, or they may be more, which is not a good idea, or they may use goat milk formulas. There may be a little bit off mainstream that would be interesting to bring in. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying a way to think about this is you can delve deeply into something about that topic or bring in something kind of peripheral that's interesting. The goal is to get people engaged. And so you'll know who the lead team is and you can talk to them and say, hey, you guys come up with a good idea that we could use for the discussion? And that'll probably be helpful too. I'll show you all these assignments. So then these other 2 people do the discussion plan, just a short discussion. And then everybody else in the class except the lead team. So these guys, the discussion people, and everybody else are participants. And they will come to class fully prepared. And you have read the article, you've done an outline, you fill in something. There's an assignment called a class sheet where you fill in information about the article, just kind of keep you focused on this. Engage in conversation. We'll have time to talk about each presentation at the end of it. And then we'll do some posting. So we'll have a discussion post. You post before and then you post after about the topic. This is a trial for me to see if this is an effective way to have communication when we don't have the classroom. So we'll see how that goes. Everything that you do here has points associated with it. So there's a lot of points in this class just for doing it. Okay, you just do the work. And so, you know, unless you don't do a very good job, it's the points are easy. The points that are harder are the ones on the literature review and presentations. But as I said before, this always works out. Okay, so I mentioned we have 2 kinds of days, collaboration days and presentation days. And I'm going to show a crisper version of this, but this is how presentations work. We have them on a Monday, right, because we have class on Monday, and some things are due a few days before, and then some things are due right after. So this is spelled out very carefully in your assignments, and I'll show you. So, and then this is the schedule. And here's today. So we're going over the syllabus, introducing the course. We're going to talk about the topics. I'm talking about student roles right now and what the assignments are. And then we have a little bit on finding references. This here, these are linked to modules. So when you go to this day, we can go to the module from here. I'll do that. Does that make sense? We'll do that in a minute. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the syllabus because it's prettier. That's not what I meant. That went to the, yeah, that's not what I want that to do. I need that to go to this document. Okay, so this is a crisper version. Again, what I was showing you was it's on the Canvas site. I'm not going to read this to you because you don't need that. This is how to get here. We were required to put this in the syllabus, how to get involved in a class, even though you couldn't get this unless you were here. But and so we talked about attendance. You let me know if you've got trouble, but other than that, it's expected. Let's see, all the standard stuff. Just the same information I was explaining to you is also in here. Okay, and so here's the diagram that looks a little bit better. Okay, so let me explain this. Remember I mentioned that sometimes you're a lead team member, right? You'll do that twice. So when your presentation is on a Monday, then what you have to do is do each day before this. So this is the day you give a presentation, okay? This Monday. The Thursday before, you will post a topic article for everybody. I'll show you how to do it. So that way they can read. So if I'm in the class and I'm just a participant, then I can get my topic article the Thursday before that Monday and get my homework done on that article. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what they'll do. And then Friday, they will submit the literature review to me as an assignment. Okay, and then Saturday, they'll post their presentation. And then Monday, they'll give it. I mean, Sunday, they'll post it, Monday, they'll give it. Now, notice Saturday's skipped. And also, you have several weeks between now and when you start doing this. Okay, so it's not like, you know, I post an article and then I write my literature review in one day, and then I make a presentation in one day. That's not how it works, okay? So you'll have lots of time to get prepared for these particular presentations. Does that make sense? Okay, you'll have to look awake and enthusiastic. I'll hurt my feelings. Okay. All right, so then the discussion team, remember that's of 2 other students that just lead a discussion. They'll submit a discussion plan to me on Friday as an assignment, and then they'll lead it on Monday. And I have guidelines. All these things, everything here has a rubric and guidelines on what it's expected, where your grade comes from, and all this stuff, okay? And then the participant will post, they'll read the article and they'll give a discussion post but the Sunday before, and they'll submit their homework, which means they've read the paper. Everybody's read the paper. We all come in on Monday. These guys are presenting. These guys are leading a discussion, and everybody else has read about it, read a review article, so they have some questions and some interest in the topic before they come in. Okay? Logical? Okay. And then afterwards, we have another discussion post, and you evaluate. Every presentation will be evaluated. Sometimes this makes people uncomfortable because, you know, nobody likes to be evaluated. You know, we get student evaluations all the time, and, you know, we'll get 30 great evaluations and 1 mean one, and we just go home and cry like, I tried everything I could and it didn't work. Everybody feels that way. I mean, maybe not cry, but you just get depressed, right? And everybody feels that way. Sometimes it's uncomfortable being evaluated, but that's how we get better. So, and it's not a mean thing, it's a constructive thing. And so I will pass on comments. You won't hand your evaluations to each other. I'll put them together and say, here's the general comments. Too many words on the slide. Slides were busy, there were too many typos, or I couldn't follow the logic, right? And if I see this kind of feedback over and over again, then that's the kind of feedback I can give you, which will help you with your next presentation. Okay, so this is what you do in the class. Okay, in terms of how much this counts, as I said, every single assignment is in the Canvas site. I started to say Trax Canvas site. You can go through and look and see what the requirements are for anything at any time that you want to. The due date is different depending on what group you're in, right? If your presentation's on Monday, then you turn in your stuff before that Monday. But the other people won't turn in their literature reviews till quite a bit later. So if you're lead team 1, okay, and everybody's going to be a lead team 1, there's 7 topics. We're going to divide in groups of 2. We're going to all prepare those 7 topics and deliver them, okay? And so everybody will do that once. They'll be the lead for their first presentation. And then they'll do it again for the second half of the semester. So lead 1, you write your literature review, you give your presentation, you provide a good topic article, and then you will do a video. We'll start this later in the semester, but it's all set up and ready for you too. So this is what you do for the first topic. Then the second topic, you don't do a video. The second topic, you do lit review, presentation, topic article. By this time, you're kind of an old pro at it because you've done it and you've seen, several other people present. You kind of get the idea, and so it's not a horrible thing. In fact, presentations are fun because it stops you from thinking. You can just like line things up and be accurate. Okay, so then the discussions, the lead discussions are worth 15 points apiece, and you're as a participant. You post to a discussion. There are 12 topics because you don't post to your own, right? There's 14 total topics in the semester, right? But one of the topics, 2 of them you're presenting on, so you don't do the homework for those. So you will do 12 topics yourself. So this is how this works out. This is the homework, and your evaluation, you get points for that. You get points for evaluating. Okay. Other grade issues, participation. This is We have 2 more topics at the end that I hope to get to as a group and not have it be so formal. So this would be just, we all work on this, and if things go well, everybody gets a 20. Okay, and then also I have an assessment, and this is a subjective assessment of participation, attitude, contribution, stuff like that. Okay, so that's subjective based on, did I feel like you, you know, came to class, contributed, paid attention, you know, that type of thing. You know, what we do can change the entire learning environment for everybody else. We can make or break their experience. And I will tell you, another part of my pep talk is when people come to this class and they're not afraid and they're not worried about their grade and they just come in to learn, we learn so much, and it's really fun and intellectually stimulating. And we've had a great history doing that. Some of my favorite people in the world took this class a while back, and they're, you know, I've got people, Lindsay Mengi, do any of y'all know her? Right, she's a lecturer working with us now. Okay, she was in this class the first time I offered it. She and 2 or 3 other people knocked it out of the park. They really got into the zen of learning. And so even if you're not a infant and toddler person, this whole method works for anything in nutrition you want to do. All right, this will empower you to learn what you need to learn. So, and then we have a final. Notice that's not worth that much, but we do have that, and we have a protocol for that, which I'll talk about later. Okay, so this is me. I have my office hours here listed, but it's also in that booking button, remember, on the home page. And then here's how the schedule goes. I have this also on the schedule on the page for the syllabus, but here's today. As I mentioned, if you look on the syllabus, these things are linked to the modules, right? And so next Monday, we'll have a collaboration day. So I'm not gonna lecture, you're not gonna lecture, nobody's gonna present, so we'll have a collaboration day. Then we have another 2 weeks before we have the first presentation. So this gives us a lot of time for these 2 groups to get going, right? And so on. So we have these 4, then we have another break, and then we have these up to 7. And then this starts the second round, 8. So you see how we've got these collaboration days kind of peppered throughout here? This gives us a break. You know, so on the collaboration days, you're not reading and discussing and doing all this kind of stuff, you're just focusing on your work. And we'll get on here and do group breakouts, and then I'll just go around and talk to you and so forth and be whatever assistance. We'll talk about the video project assignment later. Tomorrow, or the next class period, I'm going to go into detail about the literature review assignment, but I'm going to start talking to you about that today as well. Okay, so far, how much sense does this make? A scale of 1 to 10. Show me some fingers.
10.
All right. All right. Okay, I can even count on this thing. This is cool. Okay, COVID specific stuff, we're not meeting in person, you know that. One thing I want to bring up, you know, the Texas State has its own diversity and inclusion. Well, they have their own mission statement. Nutrition, we collaborated together to write our own Black Lives Matter principle. And we want to emphasize in every single one of our classes that diversity in the field needs to increase. People need to be welcomed into a field. We need to change the world. We need to make it be an even playing field. And you will come across literature when we're working on health disparities, for example. Maybe if you're looking at iron status, you'll notice that there's a real difference in the rate of anemia, for example, in kids depending on income and race ethnicity. Okay, anemia can affect cognitive function, so it is a big deal with respect to getting started. So you'll learn about things like that. You know, pediatric obesity disproportionately affects families of color as well, and that affects health long term too. So just keeping in mind this respect, and that will help us with our focus. Then enough syllabus talk. You can read it. See if you can find a typo. Okay, every one of that makes me, you can, it'll be fine. This is, as I said, I want to be perfect, but for some reason I'm not. I try. Okay, so all the pictures in here are of my grandkids because it's my design. Anyway, this is here. Just remember, you've got your links here. If you want to remember what we're doing this year, so I put it here just so it'd be easy to go to. So from here, you go to your modules, as I indicated. So today here, so we'll go ahead and go. Let's make sure this works. Do it. Okay, here we go. That takes us to 824. Now let me show you what I have here. This is under the modules. It's not that fancy. You could just click over here too. It just made me happy. Okay. So let me get this out of the way. Okay. So did you have a chance to poke around at this at all? I know some of you did. Some of you did some of these assignments. Okay. So this is day one. Basically, I have the same thing as what we're doing. I asked you to do a Who I Am assignment and an Integrity Pledge assignment. If you had time to do this before class, that'd be great. I'd like us to have a little discussion and talk about each other a little bit so we get to know each other, so we're not just a bunch of strangers sitting and looking like postage stamps. So I'd like us to do that a little bit. And then there's an Integrity Pledge assignment. Please get this done. I think the deadline on this is at midnight. I feel so strongly about this. I'm so worried in my undergraduate class. I'm so worried about academic integrity because it's really hard to give exams to undergrads, you know, and no matter what, there's always one person that gets caught cheating, and probably in every semester. I've had people cheat on the final. They've had them have their phone in their lap with the answers on it and stuff like that. So I know I'm gonna have trouble spotting that in online classes, but I don't anticipate anything like that from graduate students ever. But what you might want to consider is the other pieces of integrity, which is making this be a supportive class for everybody, being a good partner when you're working on a team with somebody, being that best person you could be. This is a place where you make lifelong friendships. I know people that hang out with, you know, 5 years later, they're still meeting every other weekend with people they went to grad school with. So this is a time to make your friends. And one way to do that is when you collaborate together, either just one-on-one or with your discussion team or with the whole group, okay? So this is prettier, it's just what I said, but it has color in it. And okay, so the assignments, there's a lot of them because they're all due on different dates, okay? And so it looks like there's a lot of assignments. I'll show you that in a second. So we can go to that. And then also, I have information here on how to use PubMed. How many of you have already used PubMed for gathering papers? Okay, I'm gonna put you more on the spot. Tell me if you haven't. Just me, and I have. Okay, so you've all had some experience with it. I asked the librarian to put together a video on how to use PubMed in case you want a refresher. They upgraded PubMed a couple years ago or a year ago, and it's better. It's more intuitive. You don't have to type the exact word down to get it to work. All right, so which is major improvement. But so here's information if you want some help. And the literature review assignment gives you examples on how to find search terms and how to start identifying those. Okay, so this is your finding articles section. And then also, have any of you used either Mendeley or EndNote or some other citation software manager? Who has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who hasn't? I should stop raising my hand. Okay, I can't do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 5. Okay, so this is actually good because this is a game changer. If back in the olden days, when we did literature searches, actually I remember being at the UT library, that's where I got my PhD, we'd go walk in this, it's called the stacks, and all the journals would be in the stacks, and we'd go in and spend all day walking up and down stairs getting journals, and you had to read them there because you didn't have enough money to photocopy them. So we'd read them there and bring a notebook, write down the references, or if we did copy them, we didn't copy the references because we didn't have enough money. And you would take notes and then you would look at their bibliography and then try to go to the stacks and find another paper. Okay, so imagine what you do now and how different it's changed our world compared to that. You know, you weren't guaranteed that you were going to find really good articles because there was no way to search. There's no internet, right? So I've seen the world change quite a bit. And these tools right here are complete game changers for you. So if you haven't used EndNote, the University provides it for free. You can download it on your computer. There are lots of training resources on this page. You have to learn to do it for this class, and you will thank me. You will be so glad that you bothered to do it, because once you do this and you manage your references, once you do this, then you've got them. And then when you need to, here, let me give you an example of how important it is. Let's say I'm writing a journal article with somebody and we submit it to a journal for peer review, and they wanted APA style, which is a stupid style, right? It lists out all the authors and stuff. It just takes up all the papers, names everywhere. But anyway, they want that. So we turn it in and they write back in 2 months and go, yeah, I don't think so. We're not going to accept your paper. This does happen. It really hurts your feelings. It doesn't happen that much, but it does. It doesn't mean it's a bad paper. It means it could be a bad paper, or it could just not be a fit, or one of your reviewers is a crabby, or you didn't cite them and they wanted you to. But anyway, so you get it back and then you reconfigure it. Sometimes you learn something from this. You're like, oh, wow, we should have done this one other analysis. I think we'll do that. Colton, we've been doing that this summer on something, right? Even though we didn't get a paper rejected, but I'm making sure we don't. But so then you can submit it somewhere else. Well, guess what they do? They have a different citation style. So they don't want all the authors and names in there. They want little tiny superscript numbers. And they want the references not in alphabetical order, but in order of mention. If you use something like EndNote, all you have to do is go, okay, I want this style instead of this style, and the whole paper gets fixed. Let's say you're writing and you go, wow, I need to add some more articles right here in the middle. What if you weren't using a citation manager? What does that do to your order? It makes you not want to edit it, right? Because you're like, well, I'm not going to put another reference in there. This means you can pop in references all over the place. So it takes care of the headache for you. And I have done this back before we used citation managers. A friend of mine and I would resubmit a paper. It would take us a full day to redo the bibliography. We'd have to take all the PDFs out and lay them out in the room, okay? And then put them in the order, like it was supposed to be alphabetical. We'd have to put them in that order, and we have to change the way the papers are. It's hard, okay? So this is a great tool. So you need to work on this stuff. I would work on this stuff before next class period. So you've got an EndNote account. You've done a little PubMed searching. So when we have a collaboration day next Monday, you hit the ground running. What I would do is get in your groups before then and start working on this before then while the semester is light. So I'll tell you your groups in a minute. Okay, so back to modules. So this is day one. I just put that together to kind of get oriented. And this is other stuff that I put. Here's the PubMed tutorial. I guess I linked it in another place. Here's the two assignments. Did anybody have time to do the Who I Am before class? I know a couple of you did. I'm not going to read them or do anything like that, just to disclose information, but I was wondering if you'd be willing to. Have y'all looked at it? Okay, talk. I've been talking, my throat is sore. It's almost an hour, except for that when Zoom kicked me off.
I didn't look at it because for some reason I thought I had seen that it was due tomorrow. So I was like, I'll look after class.
That's fine. I said if you have time, I wouldn't have given, I don't think it's fair for me to actually give you an assignment before you see me. I just thought I'd try it. How about we do this then? This is the assignment. Y'all need to appreciate my art.